You, at an age that a lot of people give up, went on this like amazing fitness journey.
Culturally, when I grew up, it was just like, get your college degree, get a good job, and then hopefully get married, have kids, and buy your first home.
When you are in your 20s, if you fail, who cares?
That sometimes the words is enough to get you to the next level. And that's what the society does for me. I love hosting people in my home because they're like family in a way, you know?
Oh my gosh, Harry, we need to show your twerking video.
I'm here sharing inspiring stories about fearless entrepreneurial women to help encourage you to live your life unapologetically. I'm your host, Heather Blankenship. Welcome to the Unapologetically Me Podcast.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking with Herry Cordoba, who has a couple really interesting things that I want y'all to hear about. And the first one is that she lost over 40 pounds in her 50s, not using any of those medications you keep seeing everyone taking. She did it the hard way to truly change her health and live a way that she wanted to in the second half of her life, which is not an easy journey. And also, something that doesn't get enough attention in our industry is the power of a really good high-paying W-2 job. I feel like a lot of the gurus really press in on, you gotta quit your job, you're leaving it as soon as possible, you need passive income. And Harry and her husband are both high W-2 earners, and they use that as their superpower to get loans and save the money to scale their short-term rental portfolio. So let's tune in and see what happens next. So Harry, one of the things I love about your story is that you have embraced your W-2 job, your career, and you've used that to build your real estate portfolio. Mm-hmm. And I feel like on social media, it doesn't get talked about enough, the benefit of that when it comes to whether it's your financing options or your ability to use the investment money to continue to build instead of have to live off of it. Like people think they're all like, you gotta quit your job by 25 or like some really crazy number. Right. And they don't talk about when you have a job, when you and your husband both are high W-2 earners, that's like a superpower for building your portfolio. Right. What has that journey been like for you, and how did you decide as this high W-2 earner, like, let me start this investing career?
Well, actually, it was actually because we're a little bit, older and stuff. We're a little closer to our retirement age. So basically, when we got to the point, like maybe 4 years ago, when we decided, we were so busy, raising our kids and stuff like that. And then they said, no more, all the sports events, all that stuff. My boys were playing competitive basketball. And then suddenly we found ourselves a year when they're like almost finished out of school and stuff. We decided we don't have nothing to do in the weekend. We just we would go out and stuff, but suddenly we just look at each other like, we have so much time. And we were suddenly, I was thinking, we love to go out, we love going on our dates. He is definitely someone I love hanging out with. And then we'd gone to Airbnbs in a lot of places, or bed and breakfast place. And I'm thinking, something just popped in my head. It's like, why don't one day I just want to own one of these, right? I had no clue what that meant. I didn't know what the background that meant. And suddenly we just saw this one guru in YouTube, and we started looking at it. And I'm just like, I can do that. All these like romanticized ideas.
I literally remember seeing a video. I think y'all were painting. Were you painting?
Yes.
One of your first Airbnbs, and y'all were doing it yourself.
Yeah, we did. And then so we decided, let's go in, and we bought our first property. I mean, the good thing about having a W-2 is that, when we came in, we weren't part of any mastermind program. It's just me and my husband. And basically we decided, we have the money, let's go buy into this property. The funny story is when we bid on this one property, we were like, it's like, there's no way we're going to get it. We bought it during the high market. It's like, we're not going to get it. We just bid on this property. And then we got a call that night with our realtor, and he said, guess what? Welcome to your second home. We're like, we both said, don't call him back. Don't call him back. He said, don't call him back. Because literally we're just, in my head, I'm going, who wants to have a second mortgage? I mean, in my family, heritage-wise, my parents immigrated here from Philippines and stuff. Culturally, when I grew up, it was just like, get a good, get your college degree, get a good job, and then hopefully get married, have kids, and buy your first home. That was it. There was no talk of like, oh, by the way, you can have an investment property down the line. There was no one in my family that did real estate. So for me, jumping into that, we thought we were really crazy. We were like cold sweating, signing those contracts. We were just like, we don't know what we're doing.
Well, and part of the reality of it that people don't talk about, when you are in your 20s, if you fail, who cares?
Yes.
That you have nothing to lose. You have plenty of time to rebuild and gain that back. And as you get older, your strategies start to change. Yeah. Because if you don't do well and something goes wrong, the risk is higher.
It is, yeah. The property was definitely, scary for us, but we jumped in head first, and then we signed up on this mastermind program to just talk about. It helped us launch the first property, but we did everything ourselves, and we were just working almost 100 to almost 150 hours a week, doing a W-2 job, checking in, and because the house was close enough to drive 10, 15 minutes away, and we were there for 4 or 5 months. We were there building it up.
Your first property, did you get, I guess if you're 15 minutes away, you couldn't get a vacation loan?
No, yeah, it was just basically our property. So we took a HELOC out of our property, so that's a good way, because we didn't want to use our savings, and a HELOC.
So you had some equity in your house?
Yeah, we had so much equity. We bought our house in like 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So when I found out how much equity, and people saying it's cheap, it was I think it was 3%. I'm just it was free money basically at that time.
Yeah.
We weren't going to use my cash. So I said, yeah, let's do that. And then we walked into there buying that property, but we launched it ourselves. And then we were so scared. We didn't know anything, but the mastermind program helped a lot with that too. But yeah, once we did it the first time, we were like, wow, it was just
You're addicted.
It was addicted.
And you've gotten really great at running numbers and evaluating different markets.
Yeah.
How did you get that skill? Because I feel like that's one of the scariest parts for people. They're like, how do I know what it's worth and if people are going to come?
Well, the funny story is that after we launched our first property, when it was start already operating, I felt that excitement kind of dwindled down a little bit, and I'm like, what's next, right? What's next? Nothing in my brain ever thought, should I buy another property? That wasn't even in my horizon, of course. And then, of course, Instagram started getting bigger at that time, and then I see your face all the time. It's like, who's this Heather girl? I'm like, well, she's always on my feed. So, and she's always telling, and then you were interviewing with so many other people about, how to finance your next deal, you can scale up. I was like, scaling up, is that even a possibility for me and my husband? And then that's when at that point, I think I was in the beginning of your membership when I just I was like, I need someone to tell me what to do. And I gravitated to the female connection part of it. And I just jumped in. And then I think through some of your training program, when you said, hey, you can buy a second property, whatever. I'm like, really? I'm like, I think that's where it kind of triggered me a little bit. It's like,
when you met lots of other ladies doing that.
Yes.
And it makes you more comfortable and it feels real because there's not this YouTube guru telling you there's all these normal ladies that are just like you.
Because when I went to Key West, the first retreat I went for you, and I was just surrounded with all these women, and to me, you were like a celebrity. I'm like, oh my God, I see you on Instagram all the time. And then all these other women, when I met them, there's like, oh, I have 6 properties. Meaning like Kobe, like, oh, I have whatever, X number of properties. I'm just like, huh? How? And then start ticking my head. I'm like, it's possible. And these women are like me, mom and dad, mom that has kids and stuff, and you can do it. So that's when it started to pieces in my head going, girl, you can do this.
I want to tell you a funny story. So at each retreat, a lot of people who do events have event planners that plan all of the stuff.
Right.
And I plan all of our events down to what we're going to eat, the menus.
Yeah.
Half the time I'm making the food, I'm the caterer, because I truly love doing that part. It's so much fun to me.
Right.
I'm planning the stage set and literally all aspects of it. And one of the things that I always have to keep in mind is everybody's food allergies. Oh. And even with not having a huge event, there's a ton of food allergies.
Yes.
And I'm always trying to go like, Harry can't eat beef. Harry can't eat beef. What am I going to feed Harry? And I had never heard of a beef allergy.
I know.
And what the craziest thing was I was just in Mississippi, and my cousin's a nurse practitioner, and my her brother's wife is a nurse that works with them, and they were having this conversation about how they're finding all these people who've been bit by a tick, and one of the results is a beef allergy. And I'm like, this is Harry. That's why she can't eat beef.
Someone told me that one time, and they said, I don't ever remember being bitten by the tick, but I felt like there must be the causation of that, because I've tested everything. It's just,
they said that it eventually changes, that it doesn't stay forever. So maybe in a few years you can have steak again.
One of the girls in the site actually said, don't buy beef and then go to a cattle, and they actually butcher it for you. Yep. And I've never had an opportunity actually, because it's more organic. I've never tried it, but I mean,
you can order it. You can order it. You can order half a cow. You don't need a half a cow. There's only 2 of you. You can order a fourth of a cow. Get you a fourth of a cow.
We have half a cow. Because one of the girls said that. I'm just like, I'm like such a silly girl. You can buy a half a cow? And
yes. Oh my gosh.
She said,
so
pick it up. And I'm like, in my car?
It's so funny you say you're such a city girl. So my husband's from Singapore.
Yeah.
And we were talking to him about the concept of like, you buy your cow. We don't mean like the cow's going to live in our backyard in Boca. And we're visiting Mississippi, and we're at a coffee shop talking to the owner of the coffee shop. He's like, I know 3 people who can have you a cow here in 2 hours. And my husband's like, Like the same response, like we're gonna take it with us. Like, what are you talking about? I think in rural areas it's more common, but you can have that.
Literally, my mouth was open. I'm just like, you can buy half a cow?
So literally every event, I'm like, what's Harry gonna eat? Because between you and then Dominique's got a shellfish allergy that's airborne, and we've got a pistachio and a gluten, and I'm like, everybody's eating chicken.
Well, like with the beef allergy, I wouldn't actually die. I just, my joint just starts to hurt the next day. Yeah, I just don't use it. But it was funny on Key West. I don't know, Celinda, one of the girls that used to be in society, we had lobster and steak, and everybody got the same thing. Yeah. No, we were sitting there, and I'm going, ooh, it's touching my lobster. And Celinda was like, oh, I got you, girl. So she took the beef off my plate. She goes, you're good. I'm like, I'm good.
That's so funny.
She's so sweet about that. She was like taking care of me.
Well, it took me, that was 2 or 3 years ago. It took me this long to connect. Like, Harry must have been hit by a tick. That's how we got here.
I'm thinking that's probably the cause. A lot of people I know who has had a beef allergy is always like tick things. So I'm like, maybe, but I think I should go back and try eating from organic beef. I'm also
curious because you, at an age that a lot of people give up, went on this like amazing fitness journey. How much weight have you lost in the last has it been 2 years?
Been 2 years to 40 pounds, which to me was, in the beginning, thought it was never going to happen because I was like, You're
so inspiring in all our group chats, posting you're getting your steps in, you're at your fitness class. Because I'm serious, at your age, a lot of people have given up by the time they're in their 50s and people are, did you have knee surgery?
No, because in Key West.
Why were you on crutches?
Okay, so this is the funniest thing. During the whole 2 weeks prior to me going to Key West, I had planned
a 2 week.
Yeah, I was in a wheelchair, remember? And the thing at 2 weeks, I spent 2 weeks, I wanted to hit all the major real estate guru. I went from Houston to Las Vegas,
and you were there.
Las Vegas, and you were the last one of the tour, and you happened to be in Key West. My sister lives in Miami. When I landed in Houston, the beginning of my tour, my trip, I just got out of my chair, and my knee just went the wrong way, and it buckled, and I couldn't get up. And so I walked a little bit more, and it just didn't work. So we end up in the ER. They said, you just sprained it, be in a wheelchair. I'm like, but it's the beginning of my vacation. Literally, my husband, Romal, basically wheeled me from Houston to Las Vegas to Key West.
Yeah, and he was wheeling you everywhere.
I would have probably just gone home because I felt so bad. He was wheelchair. He was such a trooper. And I knew he was going to be my husband for the rest of my life. Because that man did not complain 1 second, Heather. Okay. Seriously, he did not complain. Married for like
30 years. This was like 28 years in. So if you didn't know by then, he was going to be your husband forever. We're in trouble.
But I figured it would break us, you know what I'm saying? Because literally it was the first time that we've always been physically okay, but to be able to wheelchair. But it was so sad because that moment when he was wheelchairing me around, and he had to take me out, out and help me in the bathroom. I felt helpless, and I'm a very independent person. So for me to feel that helpless,
well, you're not just independent; you're like in control.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hated being not in control, and then it took me a year of therapy or physical therapy to get my knee back, and it wasn't even torn; it was just a minor tear because of my age. It took forever to heal, and then my orthopedic goes, at your age, it's gonna take a while. I'm like, what age is that? The old age?
It's so crazy how quickly you become from like I'm not old to like, wait a minute. They're talking about perimenopause and they're talking about all this stuff.
Oh, girl, yes. You're something to look forward to.
I remember I was at a Bigger Pockets event, and the lady, I had turned 40, and this lady, she's like, you really need to take these hormone treatments because now that you're premenopausal, I'm like, bitch, I'm still pregnant. I am not premenopausal. Like, I'm still pushing out babies. I'm not focused on hormone treatments right now.
A child in my body,
yes, but I am not ready for that. But you very quickly go from like, I'm producing babies to like, this is a different physical stage of life.
It is.
So they're talking to you about the healing, and so did that spark this fitness journey you've been on?
Because after a year, I gained so much additional weight, and I was like, Lily, honestly, the heaviest I weighed was 199. I'm thinking 1 more pound and I'm a 200 pound 50-year-old woman. And I was just like, I was sedentary, I was sick, I just wasn't healthy. And I just said, you know what, I need help. So I basically signed up for a coach. This coach probably hated me for 6 months because I swear to God, everything he told me, like, I can't walk that much. 10,000 steps, you must be crazy. Nope, you want me to eat protein? No, you want me to lift weight? No, Harry can't do any of that. But he was a patient man. He just follow that thing, and he just gave me achievable goals.
Was Zach your coach?
Yes, Coach Zach.
We should shout out
Coach Zach. Love him. He's still with him. I'm still with him.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been very, very great.
And he does great with the diet and nutrition and the exercise.
And he did all remotely, which I've only seen him on Zoom call. I've never met him physically, but he was very patient. He just said, Harry, And being part of accountability like that, he just said, you just need to show up every day, Harry. And even if you don't see your body weight going down, eventually it will. And when I start getting like half a pound, a quarter pound, I'm like, okay, that's not
Well, I think that's the reality of it, right? With me having babies over 40, it has been so slow losing weight. It is not the same as when we're younger.
No.
So it's that like not giving up that is, and it messes with your head. You're like, I've been walking these stupid steps. I ate my dang protein. What's happening?
And the one thing that he basically said is just do it every day. No matter what, how you feel, whatever, it's just part of your lifestyle. So I got up, I start walking every day. Now it's just part of my thing. I mean, like I said, we walk with my husband all the time. It's also good I'm partnered with him to do that. And then the strength training, when he told me to start lifting weights, I'm just like, no, Harry doesn't lift weight. I don't want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. He goes, no, you need to lift weight. You're older, you need to, bone density. And then now I lift weights. It's just a crazy journey because I realize I'm way more stronger now than I ever would 2 years ago. And losing 40 pounds was never even like a possibility because when now I look at the weight, I'm just like, what the heck? I'm just surprised. And I realize I'm a lot
even your
stronger.
face looks different.
I know. And I'm like, my strength too. I'm carrying like bags. I used to have my boys carry my stuff all the time. Like I couldn't even go up the steps, Heather. When I was 200 pounds, I would actually hold the rail and just hold myself up. And now I'm just like in and out. I'm just like, yes, I can do this. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, it's still a journey, but I'm getting to the next phase. So
I love it. And you've been so inspirational doing that.
It's helped that you guys kind of cheer me on. And I always cheer the other girls too when they do that because it is so hard to start. The hard part is the starting part.
Listen, y'all, I know today's episode is inspiring, but inspiration alone will never carry us to our ultimate goals. That's why I started the Society of Entrepreneurial Women. It's a mastermind for high-performing female investors and entrepreneurs who are living their lives unapologetically. In a world where most people don't get us, or they try to keep us confined in a small box, the Society exists to turn off the brakes and set you free. We have weekly calls covering investing, wealth building, health, relationships, family, and a whole lot more. We have small tribes to hold each other accountable to our goals. We have in-person, ladies-only retreats to disconnect and drive each other towards our dreams. And most importantly, this is a community where you can be unapologetically you. Celebrate your wins, scream your successes from the top of the rooftop, become best friends with women who get you. We're 3 years in, and I can honestly say my best friends today are all from the Society. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
And so you're talking about your husband, and you and him have truly been partners.
Yeah.
Like when everything, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about when you're sick. Mm-hmm. We're talking about your boys, and you're actually partners in your real estate side of it too.
Right.
I think for a lot of people, getting along with your spouse and staying married, doing something like that is tough. And picking which lane each of you are going to take and who's going to do what and not stepping on your toes. Yeah. How do you and him work together in doing that and it still be fun?
I think the part that works is because I think we're totally different personality-wise. He's more introverted and I'm more extroverted, and he's more patient. You need a patient husband, or one of you has to be patient, because I'm always like, go, 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 right? And when he tells me to slow down, that's when I know I need to slow down. So that different personality helps us in our business, because there's certain things like, Heather Muir, when she said, you need to write down your big skill set. We did that, and when we did the January 2005 challenge that you did. So what a big takeaway from that is, like you said, write down your skill set and figure out who does what. So after that, the moment I landed, we went to our cabin in West Virginia, and we basically wrote down what you're good at, what you hate, what I'm good at. And we really wrote it down. For 2 days, we were stuck in that cabin, and we've never had that conversation, deep conversation with my husband about what our skill set is. And he said, what do you like? What do you like?
Okay, but what happens when you don't agree with each other? Because you've been together a long time, right?
Yes.
And so he might say, Harry, I'm really good at cleaning. And you're going to be like, I don't know, you lied to, but you're
girl,
not
been
good
here
at
for 30 years almost. I've learned to know which way I can push him and which way I can't push him. There's triggers that I can push that he's like okay with it, but when I know he gets really quiet, it's like I've gotten to his last nerve and I need to shut the hell up. But I mean, it's one of those things, you get to know a person in such a deep level that you can sense where they're feeling and stuff like that. So he knows when I always talking, but when I start quiet, he's like, what's wrong with you? He's like, are you mad at me? It's like, well, I'm quiet. Of course I'm mad at you. Things like that. So yeah, we kind of talk through it. We don't really fight, we basically just kind of get annoyed with each other, and you get to the next level. We always like, one of the things we do is like, we tell each other, we always kiss each other goodnight at night. It's just something we do at night. It's just no matter how mad at him, we just say, hey, good night, honey, we kiss each other and go to bed. You know, I mean, we're not always in great mood all the time, but he's been there through the thick and thin, raising 2 boys, you know, through all the health issues we both had and things like that. It's just, you know, I guess I got lucky picking the right guy who's patient enough to manage all of Harry.
Girl, I needed a patient husband too. It
yes,
would not work.
yes, and I think you have found one. Yes, yes, I think you found one, Josh.
Yes,
so.
I needed a patient husband too.
Yes, and
so
you prayed for him, so yeah, he came. So yeah.
So you've got a couple Airbnbs under your belt. Are you at 3 now?
Yeah, 3.
We should also like show everybody a picture of the adorable A-frame. I feel like your latest, is that your latest one?
Yeah, the latest one in West Virginia.
Beautiful.
I love it.
I'm obsessed with the design aspect of that. Did you do that yourself?
The lucky part, the house itself is designed. Most of the furniture already conveyed with the property. We just did a lot of the color pops and things like that. You know, I never thought I was a designer, but actually when I realized it, I do like the design aspect of it. I can look at a room. I might not move the furniture, but I can always tell you what that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what couch to buy, but if you put it in a thing, I will tell you it doesn't work. I'm good at that, but not buying stuff. I'd rather have someone else. All the furniture came in. We just did the pop of colors and stuff like that. It just, plus
and
my
it photographed really well.
Yeah, and we had an amazing photographer that came in and just blew me away when the photographer came out. Because I mean, the hero shot was the selling point. We've been booked since we launched last September, and people are like, can we get in your cabin? I'm just like, no, there's no more dates available. You know, things like that. So yeah, that's definitely that.
And we should mention that because right now everybody's talking about how Airbnb's over and like people's properties aren't doing well anymore. And you just launched this one. It's been almost a year.
Yeah.
And you're booked out.
Yeah, we're booked out. We haven't had a weekend that we haven't been booked in that property. I think it's just, we were surprised that maybe there's also a saturation of A-frames in the area, but I think once people went in there and saw the distinctive, the amenities we provide, it's like very comfortable. So we've stayed in it. I mean, it's like everything about it, I touch and feel, I made sure it works well. I want to be able to live in that property, and that's the scent. They feel like it's warm. They said it's always like, just everything was exactly where it used to be when you're relaxing and stuff like that. So that's the next level. I want to be able to create that space, and I love being a host. I mean, most people say, I don't like some of the operational stuff, but I love hosting people in my home because they're like family in a way, you know, because they paid money to come to my property. So I love the hosting part, being part of like, we also got someone engaged in our A-frame. She told me after the fact
did
that
they send you some pictures?
I should have asked her, but she said, yeah, they got engaged in our A-frame because it was so pretty. They took engagement. They've had people come in for their honeymoon and stuff. So yeah, it's been kind of great. I know, it's been great.
Ladies, it's time to redefine the conference experience with the Society of Entrepreneurial Women Retreats. Step inside a world tailored for women just like you, where you can lead, learn, and unwind in style. Our retreats offer everything from insightful investing sessions to fun activities like salsa dancing, boat cruises, food tours, and so much more, ensuring you come back not just inspired, but truly refreshed. Join a community that celebrates you wholly and supports your every endeavor. Ready for a retreat that changes the game? Visit the link in our show notes and find out how you can be part of this exclusive experience.
I think we should touch on something you said. If you can figure out how to fall in love with some aspect of operations, you can be really good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because being totally passive or hands off gets this huge spotlight and attention. But if you can fall in love with some of it, it brings you joy and it's fun. You don't need it to be passive. This is something you like doing, like a hobby that you get to do.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you found that in this niche.
Right. And I think one of the things that I like about this aspect of it is like, you know, to be able to go to the next level. When I see people in our society, a lot of the girls, it's like designing a space that is like that women can use to connect or something like that, a retreat or something like that, a wellness space. It's just, I gravitate to that, to be able to have this one woman, actually, she was a teacher that came into the cabin. She wrote me this long message. She didn't have to, but a lot of people are very, you know, they provide a narrative on why they're staying there. They don't need to, but a lot of them share. They said, I'm a teacher, I've been so stressed, I just need a place to live. And then she just said, I love the space, and I'm thinking to be able to provide a space like that. I love that, and I think that's the next level I want to take my business is to curate the next big thing, either
Talk to me about that. I know
Okay.
you're wanting to scale a little bit differently next.
Yes.
So talk to me about that.
So for us, West Virginia is definitely a place because of the affordability of it. There's more land available, and I like the fact
And you're
that
in Virginia, right?
yeah, we're in
so
Virginia.
you're not too far.
It's like an hour and a half drive for us. So which
Not
I
bad.
didn't know because I thought West
Yeah.
Virginia was far away. Never been to West Virginia
Part of
until we.
living in a city, right? Is you're like, it's not the city.
I know
so
when my
it's-
husband
yeah,
said,
it's
"Hey,
like
honey,
another
let's go look at a
country.
house in West Virginia," I'm like, "Why?" And then he dragged me to this A-frame, and I fell in love with it. And I'm just like, this is the reason why things happens like that. But being able to go in a place and build stuff like a little house, I love the girlfriend connection, and to be able to have a space like, if you ever need a space, you can come to a resort or a retreat that's catered, touched by a woman, all the amenities. I've been to some places that are, you can tell a man designed it because the mirror is too high or the faucet is so high you can't
Yes.
reach it. I mean, there's no light when you're
Yes.
putting makeup on. You just don't have the
Yes.
amenity. It's a different design feel. So I just want to have a safe space. And there's been a lot of things also in Instagram about people just going to even other countries to just have these quiet moments. I'm like, why? Come to West Virginia. It's like, it's so much closer domestically, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least that's the next thing. We've been shifting our mindset a little bit. And we've been looking actually with threat too. I've been to, I don't know if you know, to Callum Faulkner's AI
for the
thing.
AI stuff, yeah.
And I finished her boot camp. It's blown my mind on how much information I can absorb more. I mean, they does all the research for me because I've been looking at the land, and it's so much easier to finance it. All the information is there in a ChatGPT.
Okay, so you're thinking you're going to buy some land and develop this wellness concept that you're thinking of. Talk me through that. How will that be different than your Airbnb right now that you have with the A-frame that's that on a small scale?
Right. I'm thinking more of like, at least this is like conceptual for me, is like when you step in, it's almost feel like, I've arrived or something. It's like everything, the moment you step in, it's just a female retreat. It's made with women, farm to table kind of food, possibly like that. Because my mom is a designer by nature. She's an interior designer and stuff. Like my dad is a gardener. That's not his. But he used to work for post office. But now he loves gardening. He's amazing. A dead plant he can. 2 weeks later, he's alive. I don't know what he does with it, but he's so good with that stuff. But something like that, just somewhere you can space. I'm thinking more like, a place where people can connect. A lot of people, like you're a group of women, you have a group of people that's already connected somehow in a group community, and then they just want to take it to the next level and just go on a vacation. But you don't have to go figure out a hotel situation where you come in, you tell me you have 50 people. I have 50 space for you. It's all catered. The food is there, things like that. So in my head, that's like a space where it's like...
You'd be surprised how hard those are to find.
Yes.
Because as I plan our events, it is really difficult to try and find a situation like that.
You're trying to fit your
I pretty much
square-
have to look for wedding venues, and then they don't usually have housing,
Yeah.
or like places to sleep. And if they do, they're referring you to the local hotel,
Right.
Which then, like having to travel and not staying in the same place.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed this. We've tried some retreats at hotels, and we've had other ones at these wedding event type spaces, and those wedding event type spaces create such a bond and atmosphere because you're all kind of forced to be together.
Yeah.
As opposed to in a hotel, you're like, oh, well, we're gonna go get some food, or
Right.
they're gonna go over here, or we're gonna go to the pool. You get so much closer with that bond when you're
Yeah.
in that curated environment.
I think so. I think the curated is the environment's like you step in, it's almost like then you close the door and then your group of women, you already have that first connection because you're part of a community or mastermind program. And then you're spending 3 days or 4 days there, and it's like you're catered the whole time. Female catered to. All your needs are female, everything is going to be comfortable based on everything you ever want. Comfortable chairs, maybe a little bit of wellness, a little that sound bath that you did. And oh my God, I love that.
Okay, had you done that before?
No, that was the first time
I
ever.
was so excited to try one of those. I'd never had time to do it. And I feel like at the retreats, I try so hard to get y'all to do something you won't normally do for
Right.
yourself. Your kids have moved out, so you have a little bit more time than, some of the other moms who have younger kids. And I'm like, what can we do
That was
isn't
amazing.
so woo-woo? Some people are unwilling to do it, but
Never
it's still
heard of
enough,
it. Never
right?
heard of sound bath.
And we were also in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how the heck do I find a sound bath person? And that was randomly this lady who was amazing.
She was so good.
I feel like that was my favorite thing we did.
We did. It's like
I'm like, we need this at every
I'm
retreat.
thinking I'm laying in the grass. I'm like,
And I had to talk most of the people into going. I had to be like, I promise you will like it. Go. Okay, so this is how it came about. So our program director, Carolina, she is such a huge asset to our team.
Yeah.
And I hate games. I don't know why, but I hate games.
They're so fun.
Carolina is the queen of games, and she's so good at it. And I know that like 90% of people like games and want to do that. And so I want her to like have that for them. So in each retreat schedule, I always plan time for Carolina to plan something like that. And so I was like, because I had this slot in the calendar, and I was like, what would I want to do during that time? I'm like, I want to lay out in the grass and do nothing.
That was your description?
Yeah, and Carolina's like, let's do a mock business. And I'm like, you do a mock business, I'm laying in the grass, and we're going to let people choose. Do you want to go do a mock business?
That was a good one.
Because, the girls who are those beginner phases, they paid a lot of money to be there, and that is the kind of thing they need.
Yes.
But those of us
you saw all of us.
Those of us who aren't new, that need that relaxation that we don't normally give ourselves,
phenomenal.
We want to lay in the grass. And I'm like, okay, I can't actually tell everyone we're just going to go lay in the grass. I'm like, I've heard of this sound bath thing. Could we do that outside? So I messaged this lady who's like gone to India and trained and learned to be this amazing person for that.
Wow.
And she's like, we could totally do that outside. It was so great.
It was. I mean,
that
I was
the
like,
best part
I
of
laid down thinking this move was not going to work on Harry.
That's what
5 minutes
said.
later, I was like, what's happening? Why am I falling asleep? And then an hour later, we were all gone.
Wonderful.
I've been looking in Virginia. I can't find one.
Really?
I tried. They're not the right. They're using out of the bowl. I want the metal bowl. It sounded so different. I was like, we got to do that again. We have to do that again.
Maybe
it was so good.
Maybe we'll do that in Florida in the Panhandle.
Oh my God!
I wonder if we could get one on the beach. That would be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yes. Harry has the boat. We have to do that, like maybe twice during the retreat, beginning and at the end, so that way you set them off on the right path. There you go. See? Right.
So I got that idea from Jerry, who's another one of our members. Because I was talking her through, I'm like, Jerry is like the mama of the group for everybody. And so I always call Jerry and I'm like, Jerry, I'm stuck. And I'm like, Carolina wants to do this mock business thing, and I want to lay in the grass. And Jerry's like, do both. She's like, let people pick. I'm like, yeah, let people pick. And she's like, you got to think of this like Walt Disney. When you go to Walt Disney World, you go in and you see the castle, and there's some like concept behind this in like marketing.
So fun.
She's like, you see the castle, and it's amazing. And they end the night with this big fireworks.
Yeah.
And you don't remember a lot of the in between at Disney. It's the beginning and the end.
Right.
And so we do these big opening night events, and then we close it out with like something fun. So that I'm like, the sound bath. That's what we're closing.
No,
with.
I was surprised you gave us a choice. I'm just like, we have a choice? Yes, sound bath sounds good. No.
I've also made y'all, oh my gosh, Harry, we need to show your twerking video.
Emilio, you said that was going to be cut, right? That's what you said. I have a $50 on my pocket, please.
So at each of the retreats, I always do something to push y'all out of your comfort zone.
That was fun.
And I don't usually tell you what you're going to show up to. And I had us take a twerking class.
That was so good.
At the Orlando event. And you were like the best twerker.
I was just like, I'm not doing that. Next thing you know, they must have played the music, back in the 80s. And I'm like, oh, my hips are moving.
You're
Let's
like,
gotta
this
go.
is my song. I'm going out here. And you were like the twerking queen.
It was fun. It was so much fun. And I told my husband's like, what? I'm like, yes, I know. The video will never.
It's a room full of girls, right? Everybody's having a good time.
Was.
It's all like clean fun. It's not.
And that's the thing, though. I mean, I think what you're so great at is being able to, especially not just the fun part of the retreat, but whenever you're in training, when you look us in the eye, I'm just like, why haven't you thought about that, Harry? And you're like, yeah, I did, but when you say it, it becomes reality. So I try not to do that. Keep it all inside, but then you tell us, you bring it all out, and that's the great thing about you. You're able to look us in our soul and just say, Harry, you want to do this, and you're just like, yes, I do, but you making me say it.
Come twerk with me, Harry. I know you want to do it.
Come towards the light. Come towards the light. We got you, Harry. It's one of those things that I love about the society is the fact that it has always taken me out of my comfort zone, and you always know I've never found any woman who doesn't know what they want. It's just that they haven't verbalized it yet. It's all in our head, all in our heart and our soul. It's just that no one has ever said, tell me about that, Harry. Because no one has ever gave me a safe space to do that. And the society does that. No matter what crazy idea, I have my coach.
That makes me want to cry.
Yeah,
I love that.
And it's one of those things that I love about the society is like every time any idea comes out, it's never crazy. It's always like, okay, I know someone who's done that. It's like, and like the nurturing part of it is knowing that you already know you can do this, Harry. I don't know why you're asking me to tell you can do it. I'm just like, damn, that hit me right in the heart. I'm like, I already know how to do it, but she's telling me.
It's time.
It's
like,
time.
what are you waiting for?
Yeah, it's like just someone, like I said, I grew up in a family that didn't know about investment or real estate. All my sisters are all successful, but no one ever said, let's buy another property as an asset and investment. So now when I tell them I have this 3 property, because oh, tell us more about it. Now they talk a little bit more.
Okay, but you're really blessed that they're as supportive as they are.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, again, from a cultural aspect, don't get that support.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they were a little shocked. My parents actually, when I told them I bought my first property, he's like, why do you want a second mortgage? What do you want to do that? I'm like, so, I mean, I know when I talk about this stuff, I get so excited, their eyes glaze over. I'm like, oh, stop talking. They don't care anymore here. Stop talking. They don't care anymore. And that's when I go to my society girls, when I can talk to them and their eyes don't roll back in the head. They're like, tell me more, Harry, because we're talking about this. We're in the same wavelength, and I love that, being able to talk to Jerry or some of the tribe members, and it's been that accountability group that we have created and stuff. It's just knowing that we're crazy enough to think it's hard, and it's going to be super hard getting into it, but you know how it feels on the end. Because you've been to the other side. I've launched 3 properties. I've been to the grime. I've been to the almost crying stuff, and then when you get to the other side, just like, it's so much nicer. I just like exercise in my journey in health. I was so upset the whole time, and then when I get to a point I'm comfortable, and then I'm like, oh my God, you go, girl. I'm like 40 pounds. I'm just like, that's like a baby, you lost a toddler basically. So.
I have 2 babies that equal that, right? You should pick them both up and see what that feels like.
But I have to tell you this story, and I've been wanting to say, I think I've said this before, but not in the way the story should go. But when I first launched my first property in Alexandria, we were in the midst of it. It was just me and my husband, my 2 boys that help us. We were there from the moment I clocked out at work, and I was there till midnight, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. And we still had to go in the morning by 7 a.m., right? So we did that continuously because we knew we had to launch it, right?
And you weren't 25 when it's easy to stay up all night.
No,
and get
we
up
weren't
and go to work.
25 at all. I needed, as a woman of my 50s, I needed my sleep, girl. So, but there was one point that the stuff like opening the boxes, physically it was hard on us, right? And opening all the boxes, I was just exhausted, physically, emotionally, and soul. My soul was just
putting all
tired.
the stuff together.
Everything.
It's not just opening the boxes; it's putting it all together.
Putting
and
all
cleaning
together,
it all up,
and your mind is just so exhausted, right, to the point. And I was literally carrying something from the upstairs, downstairs, and I just like, I can't do this anymore. My husband down there, like, scraping the kitchen floor, making sure it's clean, whatever. And I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into, right? So I just sat there, took a breather, and it's like, you know what? Let me put this stuff down, whatever I was carrying. And I happened to whip my phone out and just Instagram. I just want to get my brain a little bit, whatever. And then here you are, your face, Heather, goes my face. And what you said, sometimes you just have to love the hard part of the journey. And I'm just like, is she listening to me? It just hit me right square in the heart, and I was stunned. And I keep rewatching it. I'm just like, she's talking to me. I'm just like, what is this woman telling me? And it was right, because I had to know the hard part, and I didn't know that was the hard part. And you had to love it. And no one ever said that. Oh, it's gonna be so hard. You're gonna be like, you don't want to do it again. It's like when you said you have to love the hard part, that just like solidify my brain. I'm just like, nope, got up, got the energy, and I finished everything I need to do. And every time that, until we launch a property, I was like, when I was just like ready to go, I'm just like, nope, Heather said you have to love hard part. And no one had ever said that. You were the only person that ever said that. And at that time I wasn't part of your program yet. I'm thinking, so when your program came, I'm just like, I'm going to be part of our program, because that woman got me on the hard part. She didn't know this. She didn't know me from nobody, but she's the one that made it happen. So.
I love that was helpful to you, because sometimes when I'm creating these videos, I'm like, am I just talking to myself?
No.
And it's nice to know
it's
that
a moment that until my dying day, that's going to be my moment of you. I'm going to remember you, because that was the moment that I just felt like, oh my God, I know I can do this. You have to love part. And it was just so mind blowing that sometimes the words is enough to get you to the next level. And that's what the society does for me sometimes. You don't need the hand holding, the hug. It's just those words of encouragement that just make sure you already know you can do it. You just need someone to verbalize it to you.
Well, and I also think it's really easy for some people to be like, get over it. And they don't acknowledge it is hard.
Yeah.
And then there's some people who they're like, no, it's all easy. And you're like, no, it's not. When we should acknowledge that it is not all easy.
I think you were the first person in the real estate world, and all the gurus I followed and stuff, that actually said, this is hard. And when you said, I'm like, No. They said it's easy. Why is it you're telling me hard? This is not going to buy into your program. You tell me it's hard. You have to tell me it's easy, but you were real. And it was truth. And when I followed, you become part of the society, it was just, it's always been the same way. You've always stuck to the same thing that, it's going to be hard, but there's always the other end to it. So you're never going to be, and the one thing you always said in some of the tribes, like, the hard part is just a season. And that's the biggest thing I learned in society. It's like, it's just a season, Harry. It's hard, but it's a season.
But then we want to do it again for some reason. I guess next year comes and your season starts over.
It's like having children.
Yes.
When I had my first one, I waited 5 years to have my second.
You forget.
I was like, oh yeah, I forget. And you realize, oh, why am I here again? you forget.
And you chose this. Like you wanted this.
Yes, you wanted this, right?
You wanted this.
It's because there's part of you that's the challenge, the excitement of it. It's just knowing you built something that is between, me and my husband being able to build something. And we didn't know that we would end up with 3 properties, and I would want to scale to the next level. And we look at each other like, we can do this with, with Heather's help and all the things it's like, I said, honey, no matter what I do, I can hit the tribe and just say, they can set me in the right direction, because no one else has a Rolodex like that.
And it's so funny because they help with anything from like, what coffee makers work best for y'all? Like, I remember the whole coffee maker conversation. And then they're like, I can't figure out this loan, or I need to figure out my lending, some stuff that gets a little bit harder.
Right.
It's really neat to see people help on both sides.
But it's like I said, the moment you text a tribe too is my favorite platform in the WhatsApp. It's just because you say something, and no matter within minutes, someone has a cousin or a third cousin that knows somebody who's a mechanic who's going to help your son that has a broken car somewhere. It's like, you just know
in Alaska, right? But like
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, like I know somebody there.
Yeah, when they say, do you know an attorney in some Alaska, and they're like, yeah, we know someone. So it's just amazing, the network of spider web of women that we have, the connectivity. It's been a great thing. I mean, unless you kick me out, I'm going to stay in. So
well, thanks for being here with me today,
No,
Harry.
I love this
It's been
part.
nice chatting with you.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for watching this episode here today. If you enjoyed any part of it, please make sure to like and subscribe so you get the next one.
Remember, authenticity is your superpower. Stay unapologetically yourself, and let's continue embracing our uniqueness together. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss the next episode.